We started this company because of a product that was working. That's how that happened. Sandy and I met Dr. Ted Kalogris in 1982, and we were introduced to a product called Reliv Classic. It wasn't Reliv Classic, it was Classic at that time. Dr. Ted was one of a kind. He changed a lot of lives around this world. There's a long story about Dr. Ted, about how he was injured in World War II and had a spine injury with machine gun fire, and how he developed Reliv Classic product and eventually got himself to where he could walk again and without the pain. And with Dr. Ted's product, and Dr. Carl, who had joined with me and with Sandy as a partner in the business, we decided we would get this product to other people. We saw what it was doing in our family with my headache problems and back problems and all the things I was dealing with at the time. It was a terrific product, and we knew that everybody in the world ought to be taking that product. Steve Merrick was one of the next ones that became involved. And Steve has been my friend now since 1978. I think has been my personal attorney as well as the corporate general counsel for Reliv. He was one of the people that helped put all of this together. And some of you have wondered, where did the name Reliv come from? And it came from this gentleman that you see there on the picture. Marvin J. was his name. He was one of the top 2 or 3 closest friends I've ever had in my life. You would know him if I told you about the TV commercials he did. Lay's Potato Chip Company was one of his customers, or one of his clients. And he came up with the slogan, "Bet you can't eat just one." Marvin died when Reliv was 1 year old. But he was the one that came up with the name. He's the one that came up with the slogan. If you see the way Reliv is written, you see the little the tails and the logo that's been that way since the beginning, the colors even. My job was just to be the coordinator of all that. I really didn't have any special talent. It was just a matter of finding these smart people. That was how it worked for me. There was our first little office in Decatur, Illinois. Now, Don Gibbons always talks about there should have been a barber pole out on the front of that thing because it looks like a barber shop, and frankly it did. But that's where we started. Scott was our shipping clerk. Scott keeps this thing in his office as a little memento. There probably aren't 5 or 6 people in the room that would know what that thing is. That's our first shipping container right there. Sandy would be the one taking orders. She would be the one that would, answer the phone. "Good morning, this is Reliv. How may I help you?" And someone wanted to place an order, she'd click and go back and come back and said, "Hello, how may I help you with your order?" I mean, it was sort of one little small group operation was what it was. First meeting we had was a little coffee shop in St. Louis. A little Denny's coffee shop, actually. 5 people were there. And that was the beginning of Reliv in our first meeting. It was, we had our first ever conference in Nashville, Tennessee in 1988. There were probably 50 people there, and that was everybody we could find that was related, that was a neighbor or someone we could drag in off the street or whatever. We could get them into the room, and it would fill up a chair. That's all we really cared about, at that time. Time went on, we were going well. All 50 states began to become in operation with us. And then the next thing that happened was that someone wanted to take this business to Australia. Australia was our first international business, but it was a great thing because that really opened our eyes to what the worldwide opportunity was of Reliv. In '93, we had an event that happened. You've heard some of them talk about the flood, and we never missed a minute's day of operation with the business. It was amazing what happened because we decided we would rebuild once that levee got rebuilt and was bigger. That's what it is today, and we got through that. Sandy and I, through some people in Australia that helped us start the Reliv Calogris Foundation had an idea, and they came to my office in St. Louis and wanted to talk about helping some kids in the Philippines. These kids don't look malnourished necessarily, or there in that photograph, but you should see what some of them really looked like who were living on the garbage dump there in Manila. And that was really the very first blush for the Calogris Foundation. It's one of the things that I'm most proud of in all the world. It is that what we've been able to do with feeding those 45,000 or whatever the number of kids are now that we're feeding every day. It's just quite a thing. There were two really special things that happened along the way right after the formation of the Calogris Foundation. We had an opportunity, and some people with the St. Louis Rams wanted to know if we would help them with their football team and their nutrition. And we did. Their record was 2-14 right prior to that. And no one had any hope for these guys. They were longtime losers. Dr. Carl, with Scott's help and others, got the team started on Reliv products. And this is the honest to goodness truth if I've ever told it. These guys started taking Reliv products and they started winning. And they started winning and winning and winning. And not only did they win, they won the whole darn thing. They won the Super Bowl that next year and were the champions of football with Reliv products. They had a coaching change. Dick Vermeil, who at one point was one of our board members of Reliv, he was that grateful to Reliv that he wanted to be a part of what we were doing. He retired. They brought in a whole new organization and threw everybody out, and they went off the Reliv products, and I don't think they've won 3 games since that time. They have, but not very many more than that. There's one other really great story, and if there's one thing that's the highlight of my life over the last 25 years, it was what I'm going to talk to you next about. And that was the meeting that we had, 2 of them actually, with Pope John Paul II. It was like 13 or 14 of us that went to meet with him privately. And I've never had a feeling like that in my life, anywhere, anytime, any place. The man was just very, very special as a humanitarian, just as a human being. I mean, not to mention the fact that he's to be a saint here very quickly, I think, and hopefully that'll happen. The next 25 years with the management that you've seen, the leadership with Ryan and Scott and the team that they're building, this is the group that's going to lead this business over the next 25 years and longer. I just want to say to you that please remember, it's about what we can do to help other people. What has to happen is we got to go get active. We got to get proactive and take this business out there. Let's go make it happen, everybody. I'm with you, and I think you're with me, so let's go make it happen. All of you. Thank you.